We're all back.
Yeah, except for you guys are trying to kick me out.
Well, maybe.
I'm not trying to kick you out. We're just saying that you bring down the show.
It's my fucking show, you piece of shit.
Emotionally, intellectually,
Wow.
culturally.
Wow. Fuck you too.
We didn't say
Well,
we don't love you. We're just
Yeah.
saying you're a redneck.
I'm not a fucking redneck.
I don't know.
The fuck?
man, he just going all in tonight.
How many drinks have you had tonight, Rich?
Half.
Jesus, you fucking lightweight.
Half. Wow.
It just makes me honest.
Makes you a dick.
Rich, I drank a little bit of I picked up a bottle of Wilderness Trail bourbon. Got that for my birthday, and it's just under 110 proof. So I had a little, little taster before I cracked this beer, but it's good. It was a barrel pick from one of our local liquor stores. Yeah, I liked it. Little bit of a slight burn, but everything else is super smooth.
That's cool.
So yeah, it's out of Danville, Kentucky, which is like central part of the state, I guess. So good stuff.
Started by Dan.
Yeah. He settled there in 1605 as he was chased by Vikings across the Atlantic Ocean. Then decided, you know what, this is Danville, and he's reigned supreme for 400 years.
Sounds about right. He's the next cryptid we're going to talk about.
Yeah. So we're going to dedicate the next 5 hours to Dan from Danville. Then
How shitty? Like, seriously, think about that for a second. How shitty do you think it is? Like, you think parents actually still name their kids Daniel and they live in Danville? And then, like, how shitty those kids' lives need to be or have to be with that name?
I'm Daniel Danielson from Danielville.
Oh, there's got to be one.
Yeah, like it's just got to be terrible.
And I'm saying it the northern way, like the actual Kentucky way to say it, Danville.
Danville. Danville.
So it's like we have these other towns. So like Versailles and in France.
Yeah,
it's Versailles.
Of course it is.
It's Versailles.
It's quesadillas, right?
Yep. Make yourself dang quesadilla. So, Rich, last night, Bob and I did a kind of a, Bob, you call it like a retrospective on the 2DS, 3DS, and Wii U as the eShops are getting ready to shutter. And we kind of got into a conversation about some physical media. I know we kind of thought it'd be kind of cool to kind of see what you thought. And just before we started recording, you own said items. So what's your thoughts on the eShops closing? Is that going to do anything to you, for you, whatever?
No, when I got the Switch, I kind of took out the Wii U anyway, so it's actually sitting in a basement in a box somewhere, waiting to be sold eventually.
So it probably doesn't work now anymore.
I don't know. I read that thing too. I don't know. Maybe not. It doesn't matter. It barely worked when it was new. It was slow. It didn't connect to the internet.
Oh shit!
I put off. No, just the Wii U in general was slow. I don't know if have you used one? Did you have one?
Oh, yeah, I got one at launch.
Yeah, I wasn't impressed. I got one later. I got the Zelda console when it was on sale.
Nice.
Because it was the Zelda console. And I had to rebuy games again because Nintendo doesn't know how to make a web store.
I kind of made that same comment last night.
What games did you have to rebuy? Because if you just went into the Wii menu, they were all there.
No. I had ones that I had to buy for the. I definitely rebought them for my 3DS, and then I sold the 3DS and got the 3DS XL, and had to call Nintendo support to transfer the stuff because I couldn't just download it again from the store.
Yeah.
And then I'm pretty sure I bought Earthbound Beginnings on both the 3DS, and then I had to buy it on the Wii U because it wasn't technically the same download, even though it was the same ROM file from a game that they put out 30 years before the Wii U came out. Because again, Nintendo sucks. But luckily now we're just getting that wonderful online service where they give us 5 games, and maybe they'll release another game once a year without telling anyone until like the day before it's released. So yes, so that's what I'm saying is fuck Nintendo.
It's kind of funny you say that about the lack of online games available to their classic consoles, if you will, being Nintendo, Super Nintendo, and so forth. We talked about that yesterday, and I know Bob, you kind of made that same comment too. It's like the offerings just aren't worth it.
Yeah, I was a little less explicit in my and a little less anger filled in my estimation of what the Nintendo online service offers, but same basic
I
point.
think it's because you're wearing a red shirt and it's making me aggressive. So you should just take it off and make me horny. There you go. Now I'm just nauseated.
Oh,
Oh man!
See, when they had the Wii and the Wii Store first came out, at least that one you had like TurboGrafx games on it, and you had Genesis games. You had like everything was on there, and it was it was still overpriced for what it was, but it was cool that it was all there.
Right.
And then they just kind of said, nah. You buy our games that we'll never put on sale in console or cartridge form.
So now
maybe we'll take $5 off when they're 10 years old, and you can, yes.
So you didn't really play too much of the Wii U then, did you?
I played enough of it. It was okay.
I
remember playing. I liked 3D Mario World, Mario 3D World, whatever the fuck that was, where you turn into a cat. That one was good. I liked Mario Maker. That was the first place I played that, and that was cool because it worked like it should, where the screen was your, you build everything here, and then you play it on the TV, and that's kind of cool. So I played a lot, and the Wind Waker remix, is that the one I played? I replayed that on the Wii U, and that was fun. I think that's the one that came with the Zelda.
Yeah, that's the one that came with the Zelda. Did you happen to play Nintendo Land at all?
No, but I played. I'm pretty sure that's where the NES remixes first came out, and I played both of those.
Mm-mm.
And then were they on the 3DS first? They were on. I definitely had.
Yeah. They were on the Wii U first. I thought you were saying Nintendo Land was where.
No, the remix.
No, yeah. So, the
NES they have to bring out again. That's like one of the few things they haven't re-released somewhere, which they need to re-release.
Yeah, which is weird. I don't understand that.
Because they're Nintendo and they suck.
Well, but we were talking yesterday. I was telling Tom about how much.
I don't know. Before you, I want to go off on another tangent real quick. And that last Super Mario movie trailer, that was horrible. I have less interest now in it before. I think Chris Pratt is not Chris Pratt. Yeah, no, Chris. Whichever Chris it is, it's doing the voice. It's not
yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
It's just horrible. It's just, it's like, wow. Like, he doesn't care. He phoned it in. I don't like it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Rich is full of hot takes tonight.
I know. I just about to just give you the mic, Rich, because you're just on it.
Yeah, I think maybe this isn't even a part 2 of our episode from last night. Maybe this is a Gregorio Unchained.
But I love my 3DS. It's still, like, I haven't played it in a while, but it's still sitting in the charger upstairs, like where I could get to it if I want to. And Rusty's, whatever the hell it's called, where you cheat that dog out of baseball games, is still one of the best store exclusives, Nintendo store exclusives, or hell it is.
Rusty's Real Deal Baseball.
Yeah. Like where you got his kid, and it's like you keep, he's like, well, you can buy this game for $20. Like, I'll give you 3. It's like, oh, man, you gotta do something. And then the kid eventually tells you that's as low as you can get it. And it's like, okay. That's cool. And the baseball games were fun.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, my biggest gripe with the Wii U was I feel like that if it was named something different, I feel like it brought a lot of cool stuff, but I think the name sank it. But I really liked the Miiverse. I really liked Nintendo Land. I like that it carried over a lot of the stuff from the Wii, like the little features like the menu music, the eShop music, all that stuff that the Switch just kind of went utilitarianism and like threw it all out the window. And like you said, I mean, that is one of the annoying things about Nintendo is look, I've bought the game on my 3D or my 2DS or 3DS. Why can't I play it on my Wii or my Wii U or my Wii since the eShop is connected? You know, it's not like it's two separate eShops. It's literally connected where if I add funds to my Switch, it adds funds to the Wii U and the 3DS eShop so that I can buy stuff. Because that's the only way to do it right now until the eShop closes, is that you have to put it on, you know. So there's just, to me, everything they do is a money grab, but then they fuck it up colossally with the Switch, with the fucking Nintendo Switch Online with the games on it. Like, have a virtual console like you did on the Wii U, on the 3DS, and on the Wii. That's all. I mean, Rich, would you prefer? You would prefer that, correct?
Oh yeah, and I give them the extra money for whatever they're. I forget. I got the top tier service. I forget what it is.
Yeah, it's I do too. And it's if I've got the family plan, the damn thing's $80 a year.
Theoretically, I get the free tracks for whatchamacallit, which I haven't played yet.
Yeah,
yeah, thank you.
But with a new handful of characters now too.
I get the N64 games, which are unplayable unless you have one of their controllers that you can't get.
You play with the Pro Controller?
No, you can't. I mean, you can.
GoldenEye is unplayable basically.
Yeah.
Speaking of those controllers, they're going to be restocked this week.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
See, I bought one of those Hyperkin adapters and just hooked up my old N64 controller. The only thing I found with it is that, and I don't know, I could be completely wrong. I had absolutely no way to get back to the home screen, so I had to have a second controller ready to go that was connected, so I could. Every other button seemed to work, but like there's no identifiable home button when you do that for the original 64 controller, and that worked fine playing GoldenEye. But no, I share the sentiment. I really wish they just stuck with the virtual console thing. But like anything else, everything went software as a service. So they did it based how everyone else did it. So I kind of understand that from the business side of it. What sucks though is that what Rich, you said it, is there's just not a whole lot of offering on it. So yeah, you've got 30 or so Nintendo games now, 20 or so Super Nintendo games, 15 or so 64 games. You have libraries of literally hundreds of games, and the Nintendo and the Super Nintendo like online for the Switch has been there for a long time now. And you can't tell me that you're not able to be up to at least 100 titles by now.
Right.
You know, and what bothers me even further on that is that you have these titles that are released, and it's like, well, let's just release a special edition where everything's super hard or everything's unlocked or whatever. It's thanks for nothing, basically, because that
here, this extra menu item with Game Genie codes turned on for you.
Exactly. Right. It's just and it's like, oh yeah, we're gonna do this our monthly release, and it's like, oh, we're gonna give you 4 games. Well, 3 of them are just special editions of things that you already released.
Not only that, but if you look at it like, well, here's the games. They're just here's a ROM. You do what you want with the ROM. Maybe it has rewind features added to it. But you look at stuff that's come out recently, like Atari 50 or the Turtles Cowabunga collection, or that other stuff where it's like this whole here's design documents, here's the Atari 50 is basically a museum. Like here's everything you could possibly want about the Atari if you want to learn Atari stuff. Nintendo's got a big history too. Do something like that. Put out a game, give us some, stupid pictures we can look at of design documents. Here's some stuff from our back office.
Send us some. What do they start off as like a playing card company, didn't they?
Yeah.
Send us some playing cards that are 100 years old.
But I don't know, because they don't have to. They like here, you'll take this. You'll like it. This is all we're giving you.
Yeah, and we didn't really specifically dog the online service as bad as we are tonight. We did dog it, and it's just it sucks because we compared it to your offerings that you get through like the PlayStation Store, for example, which is light years ahead of your offerings that you're getting for paying. Like for me anyway, I'm paying the family price.
Yeah, I paid again. I have the PS5, whatever the PlayStation Plus thing is. Whenever they had it, I signed up for it.
Right.
Like I can basically download any PS1 game and it works. It just okay. And then there's games that I don't even have to download. I just stream them and they work perfectly too.
And you're paying, I mean, yeah, you're paying like, what is that, 110 a year or something like that?
Yeah, I paid it all at once and I forgot what I'm paying.
Right, right, yeah. And it's, but like for like when I see that, because I have that part of it, and then I pay the 80 for like the Switch stuff, and you see like what you're actually getting, it is night and day. I mean,
and you get the AAA game once a month or whatever, as long as you download it. Yeah.
Yep, that's Bobby said the same exact thing yesterday.
Yeah, I forgot to not renew, so I renewed for $50. Like I forgot to take it off the auto renew, but like when I got the first time I bought PlayStation Plus, I got it on sale around Christmas for like $30 for the whole year. And that's the other thing that we talked about yesterday is Xbox Live, PlayStation Plus, you can buy on sale at like Best Buy or Target or Amazon or whatever. Can't do that with the Nintendo Online. And I'll tell you what, I'm not doing the family plan next year. Or if I do, I'm not doing the Nintendo Switch Online Plus, so I'll lose content, but it's not worth $80 to me to sign up for that.
And chances are they're just going to raise it.
Right.
And they're going to say, and I don't know what their next, online console is going to be. Obviously now we've seen that they're willing to do handhelds. So maybe there's something going down that road, but they've been such a slow roll with it that I mean, if they continued with something like this, I mean, theoretically, I guess, yeah, you could throw some GameCube stuff out there, whatever. But I mean, who knows if we'd ever actually see anything like that, Well,
let me ask you this too, because now you got me. I'm starting a little bit fired up here. So I saw an interview with Doug Bowser, who, what a fucking name for the CEO of Nintendo of America. But talking about Zelda Tears of the Kingdom and the price increase to $70. And listening to him talk about it, it doesn't sound like it was any major decision. Like they added this much content to, or, like it sounds like, well, they figure, well, it's a Zelda game and people are really going to like the Zelda game and they're going to be impressed with the amount of content in it. So we decided we could charge $70 and people wouldn't be upset. And they asked and they said, is that going to be the price going forward for new games? He said, no, just certain games that we decide. So it just seems fucking arbitrary. And it's starting to piss me off because they're not talking about, he was asked, and obviously he's not going to, in just a random ass interview, say, oh yeah, we're working on the Switch 2 or a Switch Pro. But like, he was talking about new innovative Nintendo's all about new innovative ways to play and blah 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 blah. And so he seemed to indicate that they are working on it. But so you're telling me that he said that there's plenty of great new experiences this year from Nintendo. So you tell me what great new experiences are coming out for Nintendo this year? Breath of the Wild, Pikmin 4, which can go fuck its own face, and then Advance War, a remaster of a Game Boy Advance / DS game, and then Kirby's Return to Dreamland remastered. So 2 remasters, Metroid Prime remastered, so 3 remasters. Fucking Fire Emblem. Okay, Fire Emblem was good, but I don't think they're considering that. So Zelda and Pikmin. So really,
they showed
got a
off
great
a lot of
lineup coming for us for this year, Nintendo.
They showed off a lot of visual novels at their whatever, not E3, whatever their thing.
But that's not from Nintendo. Nintendo's saying their lineup. So what do they have coming out? The Pokemon DLC. What else? The fucking Splatoon DLC.
Unless there's something that is they're playing close to the chest. I don't know. Obviously, the $60 to $70 price point on the Zelda game is nothing more than we have so many million units that we're expected to sell or that we expect to sell at 60. We're probably going to sell the same number at 70.
Yeah,
it's just profit. I mean, that's all that is.
It's also their Xbox and PS5 games are $70. So if they can get 70 for theirs, we can get 70 for ours.
Right.
Just parity
Well,
across the board.
Well, and if he would have just come out and said, "Listen, it's market inflation or market adjustment," I'd have been fine with it. But don't come out and tell me, "Oh, it's because it's a special game." It's because really, what the fuck am I getting special with this game that I didn't get for the other games that you released that were $60 last year? It's not a new system. It's not coming with DLC. There's gonna be DLC that I'm gonna have to fucking buy down the road. But this is shit isn't coming with anything. So what the fuck is the $10? You're just gonna decide fucking mid cycle of or towards the end of the life cycle of this console that now we're gonna say $70 for this. If it would have started, if they would have come out and said, "Hey, listen, we're adjusting to the market," or "Hey, we're starting to work on the next system. All these games are going to be backwards compatible. They'll have graphics update patches, and you'll be able to play them on the new system." I'm fine with it. I'm 100% fine with it. But you're telling me just, "Oh, it's Zelda, so we're going to charge $70. Go fuck yourself, Doug Bowser.
Since we're telling people to go fuck themselves, you just brought up a really good thing about the end of the life cycle, and you came out with this thing where the games probably aren't going to be backwards compatible with the next thing. I own a PSVR, and the PSVR 2 just came out. I don't own one of them because it's like twice the price that I paid for the PSVR, and none of the games are backwards compatible.
Get the fuck out.
Yeah. Some of the people have released upgrades where I think some of them are free, but for the most part, you got to pay again or pay a little bit for the an updated version of them. But no, none of them by default are backwards compatible.
That's bullshit.
I think it's the technology so different between the two devices, but still, and the price of the PSVR is over the price of the PlayStation 5.
Yeah,
that's the biggest.
Is it like $560 for it or something like that?
I think it's $600 is the start.
Yeah, $550 is the starting point.
I'd rather get that stupid Meta device from, or at least on that I can watch VR porn without jumping through hoops. You can't watch VR porn on a PlayStation device. They have it locked down.
Well, that's because you've got to have the one hand in the controller.
And actually, you can get rid of your PlayStation. I remember when I got that, you have to have the PlayStation camera and the Move devices. At least now they have real controllers for the PlayStation or the VR.
Yeah.
I'm just throwing up a kind of a side by side on the specs.
It's supposed to be night and day. Like
and it's crazy. So like the resolution's a lot higher.
One of the things I even noticed with the original one too is they called it screen dooring. Like the resolution was low enough where you could see kind of like pixels as you move around a little bit. It wasn't horrible. I mean, it was still Resident Evil 7 was impressive. I remember really being scared playing that. And I played a couple really good games, but like I said, this is supposed to be much better. But I'm not going to find out until it goes on clearance. And
the crazy thing is the PSVR, the original release date was 6.5 years ago.
Yeah.
So there is, and that's kind of hard to believe.
One of the cooler things about that, and I'm guessing it comes with the PSVR too, is if you have 3D Blu-rays, you can watch them with the VR.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I might have like a handful.
I'd pick them up at Goodwill if I see them. Like I just got Avatar and Guardians of the Galaxy in 3D. I'll probably never watch them, but if I wanted to, they're there.
Yeah, I think I have like one or two because the way that the package came, it came with like the 3D Blu-ray and everything else. So I think I have like one or two, but I've never had a 3D TV or a 3D Blu-ray player.
Yeah, I haven't either. So one of those things that I probably have a couple laying around too, and they probably will most likely stay in their case because I'll never have anything to watch it on. So, Rich, the other part Bob and I kind of talked about yesterday, I'm really curious to see your thoughts on this. And we can kind of go in a little bit with a Wii U bricking as well. But just the overall life cycle, lifespan of like something like a Switch game card. Since it's, basically essentially the same thing as, SD and an SD card as far as that goes. So there's obviously a a finite number of cycles. There's a shelf life to it. And so we kind of got into a little bit of a conversation like, so how does this affect the collector? Knowing that potentially 15, 20 years down the road, this thing's just done.
See, that's interesting because the other way to look at it for collectors, with any modern being anything internet ready, especially if you're buying a AAA game, whatever's on that media that you have isn't playable anyway because of updates and stuff like that. So a lot of games now, you get day one updates that are larger than the capacity of the media anyway. So I don't know if there is going to be a collector's market for, we'll say, disc-based games as there is cartridge-based games. And again, I think the limited run stuff, people don't buy them to play anyway. So it's hard to say whether or not if they'll work in the future matters, because a lot of people now are buying the stuff sealed. I think grading finally broke and failed, so we're not going to worry about grading stuff anymore. But still, they want it's more. It's like those guys that buy a car or a motorcycle and then keep it on a trailer and trailer at different places, and then just have people look at it. It's the same thing. They're more just to look at anything else.
Well, it's like the speculators that inflated the comic book and baseball card market back in the day.
Say again. I'm sorry.
It's like the speculators that inflated the comic book and baseball card market back in the day. Mm. They come in, they ruin the hobby by making everything too expensive because they want to make a buck, and by artificially inflating the market, they fuck over you and me who just want to get the games to fucking play them.
Even my stuff. I mean, I'd rather play. I mean, I have stuff on shelves over there, but when I do go to play them, I play them on multi-carts or optical driving, just because it's easier. I mean, everything's right there. I don't have to get up and swap anything, which is odd because if I listen to music, I'll go grab a record. But I think that's different because you're listening to the record all the way through, and that's more of a kind of thing. Whereas the games, I just want to play whatever's available and play it.
Well, honestly, nothing. If you're playing on an ODE or on a multi-cart, it doesn't change the game.
No.
But listening to music on different types of media changes the sound of the music. So I totally get that.
Yeah, I think one of the things that was interesting to me that we kind of got talking about was, maybe not for the pure collector, but somebody that buys a copy of a game, they play it for a while, and they put it down for a year, they pick it back up, and whether it's stored at the optimal temperature or whatever, but just knowing that hey, that little Switch game card, because regardless of the amount of updates or whatever, and say the system works fine 10 years down the road, at some point it could just flake out and give out, and unfortunately it was a short run, a short print, what have you. And it's interesting to say, because we kind of started talking about the offerings on the fact that it's like, okay, well, maybe I'll just get it digitally then, instead of wanting to go buy it physically, because as far as I know, the digital version might be there forever.
Mm.
So I don't know. It was an interesting conversation to kind of go back and forth on. It's like, and I know, Bob, you kind of had that thought of it, really kind of makes you rethink of how you're approaching things, physical versus digital and so forth.
Well, and one of the things too that we brought up was, Richie, you could probably speak to this a little bit more than I can. I've had my fair share of systems that I've torn down and cleaned and refurbished and fixed and done whatever with. But when it comes to a system like the Switch, there is nothing that I'm going to be able to fix on a Switch if it goes bad. What do you? I mean, aside from the Joy-Cons, I could replace the sticks and buttons and stuff. But the actual system itself, if that thing shits the bed, I can't do anything with it. What do you think about the Switch as a legacy platform once it hits that point?
Yeah, I mean, there's not a lot of stuff. Yeah, you're right. I mean, I fixed the On the first one I had, I fixed the Joy-Con drift on myself. But other than that, you're right. Maybe no. I was going to say even something like a charging port thing. Somebody with a reflow station can fix, but you're not going to be able to fix that at home because it's all surface mount.
Yep.
But at the same time, Nintendo usually builds their stuff well. I mean, I'm throwing away the Wii U stuff where that memory thing or the ROM's breaking and breaking it. I don't see. I don't know. It's an interesting question. I don't see myself ever getting nostalgia for a Switch only because I'm old and I'm nostalgic for other stuff. But with the newer stuff too, it's also easier to emulate when it comes to the next console. Like when something comes out, you'll probably be able to emulate Switch games on it relatively easily. Even on like a handheld, like I imagine there's got to be a Switch emulator for something like the Steam. What's the Steam Deck?
Steam Deck. There is one for the Steam
Yeah.
Deck. It's not great yet.
Nah, but it'll get there.
Yeah.
So I don't know how important a Switch. Another thing too. I was going to say if you're using the Switch as a portable console, it's still kind of bulky. So I don't know. I don't see that being an issue just because I think they'll last long enough where people will stop caring about them before they break.
And that's a fair point. You know, that's
especially if the next system is backwards compatible.
Yeah. I still use my DS Lite, which I guess isn't that old, but I think that's one of the better portable consoles Nintendo made. Like I have an R4 card and a GBA EverDrive for that, and it's just one of the better things just to throw in a bag and carry around. And there you go. That has emulators for Game Gear and TurboGrafx and stuff like that on the R4 card. So I got all my NES and Super Nintendo games.
Nice.
All on a little tiny thing.
Man, I've got my 2DS XL, new 2DS XL. So I still, I've got that. That's my preferred portable. Even though the Switch is a portable, I still treat it like it's a console.
Yeah, the only time I ever take mine out of the thing is if I go to my mom's.
Yeah, like I'll take it to my parents, or I've taken it up to my grandparents when we've gone up there. Like when we went up to Hollywood's wedding. We set it up in the hotel room and played Switch Sports, which I mean, and it's cool. Like I love the portability aspect of it, but it's also like it's one of those things where I could get it out on the plane and play it, but it's a pain in the ass. So I'd rather just carry something like this, which you can't see. I'd rather carry something like this, put it in my pocket, and then be able to just pull it out on the plane. That didn't sound good. It's an easy access item.
Thanks a lot, Bin Laden.
Yeah, it's an easy access item to travel with. Whereas my Switch, I have it in like this big bulky ass case because I'm worried about breaking it.
Yeah, so I've got a Switch Lite on top of having two regular Switches. I don't have the OLED. Do either of you guys have one of those?
That's the one I'm using now.
Oh, now, yeah, I've heard that obviously the screen's a lot nicer and crisp and all that.
I had the first gen one, the first one that came out, and then the battery life wasn't the best on that, so I didn't get the one that they upgraded with a better battery life. They just done those minor things. But when the OLED came out, like I had the OLED, but I still have the OLED Vita too, and an OLED screen is beautiful. So I'm like, I think I want that.
Now with the OLED Vita, I was always told that the screen would burn out quick on that. How's it held up for you?
No, it holds up fine. I have an OLED TV too. Like I just bought one of them just because of how with the TV. I mean, it's something newer is going to come out before it burns out anyway. But
yeah,
the Vita screen's still beautiful.
System that I think got screwed over.
Oh yeah, guess it did.
Oh, what the Vita?
Yeah. In America,
more
than anywhere else. Yeah, they kind of didn't support American or the U.S. market at all.
Well, I mean, honestly, the biggest issue I found with the PSP and the Vita, if Sony just wouldn't have used the proprietary memory cards, I feel like they would have done so much fucking better. But
Yeah.
going for that cash grab with it, and I get it. It was a way of making it anti-piracy, but at the same
Oh no,
time,
it wasn't. I pirated both of them like as soon as they came out. I was like, oh, well, here you go. I still have the original the PSP. The original PSP you used a battery to dude, I still have that battery somewhere. The Vita, actually I don't think I ever did jailbreak the Vita. The Vita is still probably factory.
yeah, I had gotten a Vita at launch. That's when I traded in my 3DS and got a Vita. Um,
The 3DS, I picked up an original one off of a Craigslist deal from a guy who said he was in Haddonfield, and it turns out he was in Camden. Like I was driving to, and like
oh.
this isn't Haddonfield, and I had the original little tiny thing, and then I wound up trading that into GameStop for the bigger one, the 3DS.
XL.
Yeah, I don't even know if it was called the XL at the time. It was over the, I guess it was, because anyway, I wound up with a new 3DS XL. Yeah,
Nice.
which I like. It's a very nice console.
Dude, you know what pissed me off the other day? I was looking on eBay just before I ended up grabbing this, before I grabbed this 2DX or 2DS XL. And just for giggles, I wanted to see, because I used to have the Fire Emblem Fates special edition new Nintendo 3DS that came out. And Peyton, when he was little, I had a big tumbler of water, and it was sitting on my bedside table. I just filled it up. My MacBook Pro's sitting there, and my 3DS is sitting there. And Peyton came in and knocked over the water, and I could hear the circuit sizzling.
Oh man.
And the 3DS, some water got in it, and it made the C stick go to the right, and so it was constantly, the menu screen was constantly going to the right. So I was like, whatever. I was devastated. So I took it, I dried it out, I left it off for a while, and I was gonna send it back to Nintendo and hope that they didn't realize that it had water damage. I was going to send it back to them to get it fixed. And then right before I was going to do that, I opened it up, I turned it on, and it worked. And it wasn't doing that shit. And I tried it, and like for a week, I just messed with it, and it didn't do any of that stuff. So I found somebody that wanted to buy it, and I sold it to him for like, I think $200 or something like that. You know what that fucking thing is going for? It's over $1,000, depending upon like if it has the box and everything, and I had the box and all the documents and all that stuff. That shit kills me. Like, that's why I need to never look at that shit ever again. Like the shit. Have you guys ever had any systems or anything like that where you've gotten rid of it and then it just, you look
Not systems, but I sold. Like, I mean, I definitely got more than I paid for them, but I sold all my Magic cards before they took off, and I had early ones that were super expensive. And then to buy my first Mac Mini, which is worth nothing now, but I guess theoretically, I mean, I made a couple of iPhone apps. So I'm going to say that it helped my career. I'm going to put it that way. But I sold a stack of comics that included Showcase Comics number 22, which was the first Green Lantern, or first Hal Jordan Green Lantern. Amazing Spider-Man 129, which was the first Punisher. X-Men 90, whichever one that came out after Giant Size at 92, the first new team in X-Men comics. So it was Giant Size X-Men 1, then it was this one. And there were Amazing Spider-Man 13, which was the first Mysterio. So he appeared in that movie, so that jumped up. So I got $4 or $5 grand for them at the time. Now, again, the one that bothers me the most is the Showcase 22. The first 3 or 4 pages were missing the bottom corner, like a good chunk of the bottom corner. But still, that's like a 15 grand comic book. Yeah. So because what happened is all these people started appearing in movies, and it jacked the prices up of the things, especially the Mysterio one. That one I picked up at a comic book show for, it was under $100 because I wasn't making a lot of money at the time, and that's probably a $2,000 or $3,000 comic now. But you can't look at that. Like I said, I got more than what I spent on this stuff. I needed the money at the time, so whatever. You can't look back at that stuff.
No, I mean, I remember being 12, 13 years old and flipping over all of my original Nintendo stuff because I was like, I'm gung ho for getting SNES stuff, and
I don't remember if they were first editions or not, but I had the Charizard card when Pokemon came out. I had a couple of them.
I did too.
We would trade the Magic cards for them and back and forth just because we would play.
Yeah,
both of them at the Comic Castle. Is that the name?
Yeah, Comic Castle.
Yeah.
I had a friend of mine who collected Magic cards from day one, and I mean binders full of first editions, and I have no idea what happened to them.
Yeah,
I don't know that he ever made anything with it, but it makes me sick thinking like all those years ago that it's like, yeah, you probably could have bought multiple mansions right now because it was ridiculous.
I remember buying a bunch of Pokemon cards on the boardwalk in Atlanta or in Ocean City, and I had a Charizard, and I don't remember if it was the hologram one or not, but I know that I sold my entire binder of Pokemon cards to my uncle for $100 because his kids wanted them, and that Charizard was in there, and it was a first edition, it was a first print, like legit, like could buy a house now. Well, not a house, but maybe a car to live in. But yeah, that's I don't know where that ended up. I'm sure they don't fucking have them anymore. I'm sure they're
but Rich, you're right. That's the part. It's like you really can't look back on it.
I literally just sold all my amiibo. They were in the basement in a box for 2 years. I was getting ready to put them back out. Like I'm going through stuff in the basement to put back out again, and I open up the box and like I did that at Marie Kondo. Is that her condo? I forget what her name is, but like, does this bring me joy? Like,
yeah,
they went to space. I took it to actually drove the extra distance to go back to Next Level Games in Blackwood because I've dealt with them a couple of times, and I got a pile of cash and Turtles in Time for the. It's not the best condition, but he had a box copy, complete copy.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and I'm into Turtles, so that was like the last one, except for Tournament Fighters for the NES. That was like the last one I needed to complete the Turtle cartridge games.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, I was trying to think if there was anything else that we got into last night that I think we've kind of covered those bases.
It's kind of funny, though. You mentioned that the Hal Jordan went up. If anything, I had thought that people just would have completely lost interest in Green Lantern after that fucking movie.
No, I think he's just one of them evergreen characters, which is always going to be popular enough to drive the price up. Also, it was a Silver Age book. What is it, 60 something or other?
Yeah, no, I love Green Lantern, but I'm just, the movie.
What else was in there? It was there was also a first Sinestro, and that went up a little bit. There was I still have a list of it somewhere. I have the receipt that the guy gave me. It was a new store that opened up in Haddon Heights, somewhere up in there, at a comic station it was called. And the guy had to pay me in payments because he didn't have the cash for it. I'm like, okay.
Shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just looked up that one in like tip top shape a couple of years ago, sold for over $100,000.
Yeah, no, this was more like a 3 or a 4. If you
I see a bunch of them that are on eBay for $2,000 to $4,000.
Actually, I'm looking at them now because I'm like, should I rebuy this? And I don't want to rebuy it. What I did, I went to a comic book show, one of the New York Comic Cons. What's cool about it, it used to be cool where you could go to these comic book shows and the guy would sign your books for free. So I went to that one without any money just to get stuff signed. And Stan Lee was going to be there. I never saw Stan Lee before. But his ticket, there was a certain number of tickets to his thing, and they were $60 a piece, and I didn't get the ticket. So I traded somebody a giant size X-Men 1 for his ticket.
Shit.
Which, at the time, I paid $150 for the book. So it was only twice what the ticket to the show was anyway. And then I got a pile of stuff. I got a couple of comics signed by Stan Lee. I got to meet Stan Lee. But that's something I'd like to rebuy, and that's like $3,000 or $4,000 now. Like, I don't want to spend that. The most I've ever spent for a comic was $1,000 for I think it's a 5.0 first Doom Patrol, My Greatest Adventure 82 or something like that. And it was already graded, so I don't have to worry about getting it graded and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's once it's graded. I mean, that just jacks it up.
That's what I think. This is like not quite an investment thing, but I mean, $1,000. Like, there's a lot of money, but I had the bonus at the time. Like, let's do it. It's one of them things that I kind of wanted for a while, and I kept watching it go up. That's the thing too. As I sat there watching, like I could have had it for $300 had I bought it a couple of years ago, and then it was like $400, $500. Jesus Christ, let's just buy it now.
well, that's how I and I've missed out at this point. There's no way I'll ever own it, but that's how I was with Earthbound for the SNES. Is there was a point where I had an option to buy it for $60. I'm like, I'm gonna get Rock Band instead.
I sold one of them for $300. That was complete in box. I paid $150 for it, so I'm like, well, I doubled my money. There you go. This was years ago.
Yeah.
And that and a Final Fantasy 3 that was complete in box. And I have a loose copy of Earthbound now, and I still haven't played it. Plus, I have it. Okay. It's one of the games that's included on that.
That's what I was about to say. I was like, now you can just fire up the Switch Online, and boom, you're good to go.
I bought that on the 2DS, 3DS. I bought it on the Wii U. I bought it on,
I have the bootleg translation of Mother 3 too, and I haven't played any of them all the way through. I started a couple of them.
Earthbound was a game that I actually purchased. I actually had it. I had a copy of it, and I had it. I purchased this at the there was an exchange at the Philadelphia Navy Yard.
Yeah,
that's where I got it.
Oh no shit!
And I didn't have it for very long because at the time I don't know why, I absolutely hated the game, and I turned it over and said, I don't want this. And boy, I don't. Yeah.
He's got a Funcoland fucking newspaper with the price.
I can tell you what the trade-in would have been. There you go. $44.99.
Not nice. A bad trade-in price.
March 1996.
Nice.
That's not bad for March 1996. When did that game? The game came out in what, 95?
I don't know, but I think Super Nintendo is the latest console in this thing.
PlayStation's on it.
Is it on there? Oh yeah, there you go. PlayStation's on the back. No N64 though, so it was before the N64.
You're talking about release date for Earthbound?
Yeah.
August of 94.
94. Okay.
2 years. Yeah.
So not bad for a 2-year-old game. But
no.
What's that Nintendo game everyone likes? Or not likes, the one that's I forget what it is. It's
Rich, what's Ogre Battle going for on the SNES back in March of 96?
Ogre Battle. L. Trying not to rip the thing as I go through. Ogre Battle. I don't even. That's not listed here.
Not listed there. I must have been after that.
Oh wait, never mind. I lied. $54.99.
I knew it.
More than the one.
Yeah, I knew Ogre Battle was like the hot item back then.
How about Mario Duck Hunt for the original Nintendo?
10 cents.
You pay us
Mario Duck Hunt or Super Mario Duck Hunt?
You pay us $5 and we'll take it off your hands.
A 3DO.
Duck Hunt itself is $0.25.
Nice.
It must be Super. It must be under S. There you go. Super Mario Duck Hunt, $0.25. 29 cents if you have the one that's got Super Mario Duck Hunt and the track and field. You get extra 4 cents.
Yeah, you were like high class if you had that one.
That's the one that I got for Christmas. I got the one with the power pad for Christmas.
You're high class then. I had the power pad, but I didn't have that version of it. I had the Super Mario and Duck Hunt version, and then what came with the power pad? It was like World Class Track Meet.
My Nintendo came with the power pad, and it had that triple cartridge. So I don't know what it.
I was going to say, I remember getting mine. I thought it was like World Class Track Meet was what came with it.
It might have been. It might have been a separate cartridge.
Yeah, that's right. It was the one that was okay. World Class Track Meet. It was the one that that was the old Stadium Events game.
Yeah.
So that's the game that before they turned it over to the power pad, that's worth a ton of money.
Actually, I think it's Bandai something or other.
Yeah,
Bandai.
It was like the Bandai Fun Pad or whatever the heck it was called.
Yeah, and so did you have fucking you had fucking Stadium Events?
No, I had World Class Track Meet. That was the game that was based off of that. Yeah,
the one that's not worth anything.
Yeah, exactly. The one that was probably selling at Funcoland for $0.25 back in '96.
Okay.
So DuckTales 2, I think, is $15. But Sesame Street 1, 2, 3 ABC is $25.
DuckTales was no joke for the Nintendo.
I think I traded my sister's copy of Sesame Street in at Funcoland. She had that shit, that ABC 1, 2, 3 Sesame Street bullshit.
Hey, I went to a Christian school. I had like a Bible game at some point from the Nintendo.
Wait, did you have the one with fucking Baby Moses?
I don't remember what it was. I really don't. Now, here's one thing we did have. It was really cool. I had a Miracle, the piano.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like my mom actually bought it because she thought, that's how she would learn piano. So we had it for the longest time. I'm almost positive that my dad still actually had. I don't think he has the cartridge anymore, but he actually still has the keyboard somewhere. So
Doom is the most expensive PlayStation game at $60. Twisted Metal's $55.
all day long.
Revolution X is $47.
Oh,
Revolution X! Wow,
I remember
forgot about that
playing
game
so much in the arcade,
Mm-hmm.
and then I got it for the computer, and it was fucking awful.
The TV tuner for the Game Gear is $70.
I had that.
I have the one for the
I don't have it now.
Oh Jesus Christ!
The
Turbo Express.
Yeah. The Turbo Express, aka the thing that Will Smith was trying to hunt down in that one fucking movie.
Did either of you guys have the little printer for the Game Boy?
I did not.
Ryan had it. Ryan had the camera and he had the printer.
Nice. With like the 0.0001 megapixel camera.
Yeah. Yeah, he used to take pictures of shit all the time and print it out on that.
Virtual Boy is $50.
I would never play it, but for some reason I really, really, really want a fucking Virtual Boy.
Bob, you know who had that and a ton of games for it?
Brooks?
Matt Hill.
Of course, fucking Matt Hill. It's something you could put your face in.
Exactly.
I got one of them in a Blockbuster case over there somewhere.
Do you?
Yeah.
You know who had one? Rich? Ryan Moore had one of those.
Okay.
Yeah. That was the only time I ever saw it, and I never got to play it because for whatever reason, something was wrong with it even when he had it.
Yeah, it's not great. The Mario game's not terrible, and there's a Wario 4 isn't bad.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't even care. Honestly, I don't really care if it even works. I just kind of want one to have like sitting on my shelf.
Gotcha. I still don't have a Power Glove because I don't want to pay what they're going for, but I'd love I had one as a kid. I wouldn't mind having one. Yeah.
What are those going for now?
And they're like $200 or $300 depending on. I want it in the box for a little more.
I don't know. That was one thing. I never had one, and it's weird. Even as a kid, I never really wanted one. I don't know why.
Horrible. It didn't work. It didn't even when it worked, it wasn't great to use because it wasn't like they show you in the commercials where everyone's using like 1-to-1, and it's not a 1-to-1 thing. It's like this finger's A, this finger's B.
Yeah.
If you turn this way, maybe you'll go left. If the ultrasound technology works. Yeah.
Well, this was fun. It was cool and nice. We dogged the Nintendo's online service, and then we went down a nice trip on memory lane. I like it.
Talking about just real quick the games that they're not working or the life cycle. The 360. I had 2 of them go bad on me. Really? And then the mini one came out. And the mini one it's probably still good. It's over there sitting in a thing, but you see them all the time at like flea markets or garage sales or whatever. And there's no point in buying an original one because there's a better chance of it being red ring than it actually working, just because of how prevalent that was in the first couple of cycles of that thing. So that's like, and not only that, but most of the games now work on a Xbox One or whatever. So there's no point in really doing that. So that's one of those things like it's never going to be collectible, and I don't know if it's going to be remembered fondly.
The 360, I think it will be remembered fondly. It's not the initial run.
Yeah.
The initial run's always going to be marred by the red ring. I have the Slim, the S model.
Yeah, that's what I have too.
But I have the Star Wars version that's that's done up like R2D2 and it has like the R2D2 sounds and shit. That runs perfect. I mean, knock wood. Now I'm gonna fucking turn it on and but that's actually what I used to play NFL 2K5 for the original Xbox. And honestly, it runs well, it plays well. The only issue I ever have is sometimes the game glitches out because it's imperfect emulation. But aside from that, mine's still running like a champ. I even have the little fucking douchey Connect for it. The only thing I don't have for it, I don't have the Star Wars Connect game that came with it, and I don't have the C3PO controller.
That's worthless.
I don't give a fuck.